In a world where the podcast multiverse is a concept about which we know frighteningly little, two dudes must become something greater than themselves, something elemental, something terrifying, a podcast. With great podcasting, there must also be great responsibility. To show the multiverse that it's full of people ready to believe in good. The multiverse will hunt us. They will send the dogs on us, because that's what needs to happen. But it won't be ready to hear from us. Not us, united.
Nick,
I'm just so happy.
there's just, I'm happy too. Don't interrupt me ever again.
Don't ever interrupt you.
We're doing a podcast. Nick, there's sometimes where two universes collide. And I feel like right now, two universes are colliding. A new universe with a time that you know, Nick, of me being in Iowa, me here, and then just Not Us United happening. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And a time before Not Us United. A time, believe it or not, I existed before this podcast.
It's true.
It's hard to believe.
That is hard.
But a time where I lived in Arizona, and I feel like now that I have a good friend who has traveled here from Arizona, where he is here in the studio with us, going to be talking about Doctor Strange. I feel like two universes are colliding, much like a multiverse of madness, if you will.
An incursion is taking place?
Yes, an incursion, yes.
Let's go.
So you have heard the voice of Levi.
Yes.
Go ahead and just say hi.
Hello,
again.
everybody.
That's him.
The listeners.
The listeners. Yeah, there are multiple. There's with an S, huh? Yeah.
There are lots, actually. Yeah.
There are many of us.
Don't think that there's a few. Like, you're all hopping on the bandwagon now if you're listening on this episode.
Yeah. Once you get on the Multiverse of Madness train, there's no stopping. Choo choo.
No stopping. Just
stopping.
full forward.
Full forward. Well, Levi, tell us a little bit about about some movies you love. Like, what interests you about movies? We always like to see what gets people into cinema and what cinema draws out of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, first of all, thanks you guys for having me on this podcast. This is my first podcast, so I'm like pretty pumped. And especially to be on a podcast that like talks a lot about superhero stuff and which is something I'm very passionate about, but that's besides the point. So, to answer your question, like cinemas and movies, I've always been a fan of movies for as long as I can remember. I mean, just like the experience of going to the theater, getting that bag of popcorn and some soda, and just sitting down, the lights, they play the previews and the lights dim, and that moment's coming where the intro credit and the intro rolls. The movie begins, and you're just sucked into what's happening on the screen. Your mind is thinking about what's going on in the movie, and you're just so. I mean, obviously it depends on the movie, but you're so just locked into the film and what's happening and what's going on, and it just like it really plays with emotions too. Like you can go into a movie where you're super excited, or you can go into a movie where you're like it's mystery or suspense or horror or a drama. So it's like movies just bring so much emotion out of not only me but just people in general, and it can move people. It can just do so many things to an individual, which is like one of the reasons why I love movies. And then obviously as a nerd, being a huge fan of Marvel and Star Wars and superheroes in general, it's just like adds a whole nother element to it.
Oh, for sure.
Like an Endgame, and so many crazy moments happen in that movie. It's just like it just kind of confirmed to me why I love movies so much and why they just move me. And like the actors and the directors, they do such amazing jobs to really please the fans.
Oh yeah.
And not all the time please the fans, but like they just they know what they're doing. And it's awesome.
Great.
Yeah. This guy's a man after my own heart.
Yeah.
Endgame, shout out already. I didn't even say it. We're like
2 minutes in.
We're like one Dune away from this just being completely. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, have you seen Dune?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
No, that was one movie that a lot of people were telling me to watch, but
Well, you heard it from us, Not Us United.
Yes,
Check it out.
Nick is a very big Dune fan.
all right.
So you mentioned Marvel, you mentioned Star Wars. Give us like a picture of like maybe 3 movies that are some of your favorites. Some of the ones are like this is the Levi special of movies, you know?
Oof. That's such a
yeah, sorry, I put it on the spot
such a
here.
hard question because there are so many movies that I love, and a lot of them are movies that like people don't like just like as a community as a whole. It's like, oh, you're not supposed to like that movie, but because I watched it as a kid and it was like one of my favorite movies as a kid, like it's like I still enjoy that movie,
For sure.
even though as an adult I've recognized some things that are wrong with the film. But I think as a superhero fan, my top 3 movies would have to be like Endgame,
100%.
because I mean, growing up with 2008 and Iron Man, that being like one of the main superhero movies I saw, other than like the old Daredevil or the old Hulk or something.
Iconic.
Yeah.
Ben
And then
Affleck,
just
oof.
going
What a movie. We'll
All
get to
time.
that later.
But just like going through that whole journey from 2008 to 2019, it was just, and then all the things that they did was amazing. I mean, unsuperhero related, I really enjoy, I don't know, The Patriot. I don't know, guys, you've seen that movie with Mel Gibson?
Mel Gibson, yeah.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite films. And then a third, and these are like not like 1, really like 2, kind of like 3 is like,
No, these
whatever.
Are ones
These
that
are like
you're on a stranded island, but you got
Yeah.
to bring 3 with you.
Exactly.
This is what you're doing.
It's just so difficult because there's so many. If I had to just pick like an animated film, it would probably be like Treasure Planet.
Oh, all time, dude. All time. Let's go.
Oh,
It's
no, this
such-
podcast is just
Let's
doomed.
go. And we're now talking about Treasure Planet for 2 hours.
There are so many other movies on my list, but if I had to just narrow it down to 3 to like kind of
Yeah.
hit.
Excellent films.
Just
That's
good
a good
categories.
broad picture of like your kind of taste in cinema. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, there's like you guys talked about it, Prisoners. I listened to that podcast. Like that's such a fantastic movie.
Oh, yeah.
Inception,
Mhm.
Interstellar. Like there are just like other than superhero films, there's just so many other well-made movies that it's like
Yeah.
so hard to rank
Yeah.
because I'm such a huge fan of the nerdy stuff. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked what you said too about the theater experience, because I mean we've talked about that. I mean, starting a podcast in the pandemic era has been interesting because a lot of our experiences aren't always weren't always in the theaters, and so we had to kind of adapt. But there is something about almost like depriving yourself of distraction that allows that movie to probably hit a little differently.
Yeah.
Like you said, it connects with your emotions a little bit more, and I think it's almost like you're in like a dream state, kind of where you just don't have to worry about anything outside of what's happening for the next 90 to 180 minutes, depending on how
and especially like
long the
with
movies you go to.
yeah, exactly, and especially with like social media nowadays, like there's all these rumors that come into play, so like it can be a gift and a curse, and I think we'll get into that with this movie as far as being either a gift or a curse. But it's like social media, like the trailers hype you up, but then you read about certain things like, well, this could happen, or this thing could happen. So it's like it kind of builds expectations, which could be good again, which could be bad. But I think the social media adds a whole new element to it that wasn't like that before.
True. Yeah. I mean, like anything, like it can be used for good or it can be used for bad. You know. But I think like getting to live, especially in this time of superheroes, where now we've kind of, like I've told Michael this plenty of times, but like now that we're post Endgame, it is just kind of like, all right, now what can we throw into this next one? So I think a lot of people can say, hey, this fan casting would be awesome, and then Marvel can look at it and maybe be like, what the hell, maybe.
Yeah.
And so it is an interesting time where people can almost feel like they're a part of the It's like, hey, we invested in you for like 10 years, and now we're kind of like the board of directors to some degree, where we can kind of like be like, hey, you should do that. I mean, we don't really have that much control, but we get a chance to sometimes.
No, I think there's enough, and there's like
trailer analysis and things.
Yeah,
like that.
I think there's I think this movie, and Marvel in general, just has that a lot, where it's like there's a heightened anticipation for a lot of things, and it could hamper or heighten some things. I think this would be a good movie to discuss that around.
Excellent. All right, well, let me get our business out of the way. We've had a nice long intro, but your boy has to start us off, so we're an official podcast.
Yes.
Right?
Let's go.
All right, so everyone, welcome to Not Us United. I'm Nick, Mad Dog Nick. You can call me that if you want. Bad Boy LaCroix.
Yeah.
Anything.
The man with many nicknames.
You can just call me anything, and I'll answer to it. It's fine. And with me, as always, Michael.
Mike.
All right.
A.k.a. Mikey Gliz.
We are a weekly podcast powerhouse. That's the important part that you need to remember. That exists to see people interact with and see cinema a little differently. We find the good, the bad, and the wild in all that we do, and we are glad that you chose to listen to us. Not us. United.
Yes, sir.
Now, without further ado, I have one question.
Okay. I don't know what to expect, ladies and gentlemen.
Or did you have something you were saying?
No.
Are you sure?
I just want to know, dude.
The anticipation.
Nick has not given any details away about what he feels about this movie. Levi and I saw the movie together. We got some time to discuss and kind of form our opinions together.
Okay, so you guys are just going to tag team me.
No.
Okay. I see what's happening here.
We had a discussion.
I need more wine. Hold on.
But it wasn't like...
I don't think we're exactly on the same page.
Yeah, it wasn't like this kind of a environment where it's like, obviously it's a podcast.
Yeah.
We talked about like just kind of like some broad things, like this is what we liked, this is what we didn't like, kind of thing. But yeah, we didn't go like in depth. I think we saved that. For this.
We tried to save some stuff.
Oof. Yeah, you're pretty good at that. You're pretty good at being like, hey, let's wait.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, without further ado, here is my question. Now I feel like I've been set up because I was literally just gonna be like, "What did you guys think of this movie?" Now I feel like I have to come up with a way better question.
I thought you were gonna say how you felt about the movie.
No, I was gonna tee you guys up first. I want you to keep waiting for how I feel.
Oh gosh.
No, that's fine. Okay, we're gonna be talking about a movie called Doctor Strange 2.
Let's introduce the movie that we're talking
about.
The
Multiverse of Madness.
We're a professional podcast.
We did a previous episode on Doctor Strange 1 just to revisit it, kind of understand. Because if there is a movie that's going to do some interesting things that you probably need to have previous knowledge on, it's going to be this movie because this will be the first iteration in Phase 4 that now involves one of the Disney Plus shows.
Yeah.
So far, there hasn't been really any crossover. Everything's kind of been a standalone project. There's been a few crossovers in characters, but not TV show to theater yet. And so this was the one that we wanted to revisit. We didn't technically talk about WandaVision, but I think it is required viewing for this show or for this movie. And so there are going to be some spoilers for that show. I think that will be included in the review of this movie. There's also going to be probably like spoilers for like a lot of MCU properties.
Yeah,
so
anything Far From Home probably.
So if you've kind of just like shotgunned certain Marvel movies, like hopefully you hit the right ones, but we're going to be discussing like the MCU as a whole because we're now on the 28th chapter of this very very never-ending story. And this one is probably the one that like we can't get past. Like you can't just be like, you don't need to know anything. We've now reached the point where you have to know everything now. So like this is it. You have to know everything for this movie. So we'll do a spoiler-free chat just to give everyone a feel for it. But I would strongly encourage anyone to not probably just jump into this movie if you haven't watched previous anything.
Yeah,
we had a friend ask if Far From or No Way Home was required viewing for this.
I think I would be okay with you not seeing it.
I would agree. I think there's only a few parts that don't really need, like you're like, oh, that happened. Okay, got it.
We're gonna dive into this, but there's a point that people should know that this movie was actually slated to come out before either WandaVision or No Way Home. And it would have been a very different movie if that were the case.
Before WandaVision.
Correct.
That would be insane.
And so, in some ways, yes, you can skip No Way Home because I'm pretty sure half of this movie was written before No Way Home. And then they had to, like, kind of puzzle piece it in together. So, we'll get into that when it gets into spoilers because that has some implications of itself. But, I think you can get away with No Way Home since that's the newest one in theaters. But I would strongly encourage anyone who hasn't seen that movie to check it out because it's pretty dope.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I've only met one person who didn't like it, and that's just because they don't like Spider-Man. So it's fine.
Yeah, they're crazy.
So with that, let's get into our spoiler-free.
I agree.
Michael, I'm going to tee you up. Without further ado, my question to you is, what did you think about this movie?
Hey, I'm glad I'm starting this off.
You need to.
Boy, howdy. I had a good time watching the movie. I liked the movie. I think ultimately I came away fairly disappointed.
Okay.
But I like what they tried to do.
Okay.
And I like scenes from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm just so nervous.
I love that line. I like scenes from the movie. Okay.
I think overall it was definitely not my favorite. I think it's interesting rewatching Doctor Strange 1 recently because I wasn't a big fan of that one either. So I think I might have a similar aspect of this, watching this and then revisiting it and be like, oh no, it's pretty good because I enjoyed rewatching Doctor Strange a lot. And I think my expectations, as I even try to keep them minimal, weren't, I guess, quite met. And so I just think I liked what Sam Raimi did with his horror aspect. I enjoyed that. I just don't think I was prepared for that. And so I think a second viewing for me, I would enjoy the movie more.
Yeah, I'd like to see this one again. There's a lot of stuff in this.
Yeah, I think I think there was a field in the movie that I just didn't quite like.
Okay.
And so I think I'll leave it at that.
Sick.
Okay.
Levi?
Yeah, I think that overall, I really did enjoy this movie. Like, I enjoyed the fact that it was different compared to all other Marvel films. I mean, like, if we think about it, like other Marvel movies, they kind of have a similar tone. Obviously, every movie is different, has their own spin, but they kind of just have like a similar tone. This one just felt completely different. I don't know if that was like the multiverse aspect of it, or just that the horror aspect from Sam Raimi and that you know, that kind of different vibe. But yeah, I think that there were lots that I liked about this movie. There were some things that I wish could have been done differently, and I think that's because of my expectations coming in, because of that social media aspect, like I had mentioned before. I think social media kind of hindered my exit from this movie. Because I had so many expectations of like, oh, could we see this person? Could we see that person? You know, et cetera, et cetera. And we'll talk about that later. But yeah, I would say overall, I still enjoyed it, and I wouldn't say it's my top one, like my top 5 Marvel films, but I would say that it's I still enjoyed it. I mean, yeah, and I'll talk about the things that I wish would have done differently and I didn't like later. But I would say overall, after the few days that we've had since we've seen it, I've had more time to think about it and be like, okay, like I did like this, I did like that, even though initially I didn't.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah. Nick, tell me how you feel about this movie. I need to know. I need to know this right now. Because I just it's either gonna be like, why did you guys think this was the worst movie ever, or why did you guys think this was the greatest movie that Marvel has ever made? I think there's no in between.
Okay.
He's brushing off his shoulders.
I started this movie off.
This journey.
I think I got about like 20 minutes in and was like, am I consuming the worst Marvel movie I've ever seen? Okay. And then I finished the movie and I was like, I have a lot to think about.
Yeah.
And through thinking about it and digging deeper and remembering things from the first one and finding these like little lines that were said and choices that were made and the uniqueness of this film, I've completely 180'd.
Wow.
And I feel like this is a very, very strong addition to the MCU. When I think of different but didn't stick the landing but we still liked it, I think of Eternals.
Yeah.
You know, where we're like, wrong, but keep doing it.
Yeah.
This is, I feel like, the better version of, okay, you're doing some weird stuff. It's a little whiplashy because this definitely doesn't feel like a lot of these other movies have felt. And that should be welcomed because we're now at the 28th version of that. So like we need fresh.
Right.
You know, we need that Iron Man line where it's like, we need you, we need new blood. Like we need that's what we need in this universe. But this movie did not care. Like, it was... I mean, we start this movie in the middle of a movie.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff that's going on, and I'm not going to spoil anything further than that, but I mean, like, the movie literally begins, like, in media res or whatever, where it's, like, you don't know what's been going on, but you're just thrown into it. Mm-hmm. And after connecting the dots, this one felt like, to me, if you did your homework and you kind of, like, went through it and connected the dots, it actually is a very strong addition into the MCU. But at first I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I think they are about to shit the bed with this movie. Mm-hmm. I was really it was like, I don't know.
Wow. I need to know what turned you around, but I think that's going to go into more spoilers.
That's fine.
Interesting. I would definitely agree beginning is rough. Mm-hmm. I think it's pretty rough.
But there's some really cool things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like I said, whole picture, when we get into spoilers, I've got some great questions. Mm-hmm. We're going to tee you up. Okay. I'm going to change all of your minds.
Okay.
And
yeah, you're going to have to defend this movie
Levi
pretty hard,
said it's just not in his top 5, so I don't really feel like I have much argument to deal with that. But you? This is going to be your favorite movie in the MCU by the time I'm done with you.
There's no way, dude. There's no way.
I mean, like...
I got him.
Like you were saying, like, it's you and I, Nick, you and I are on the same page in the fact, like... So, like, for our first viewing, the theater... blacked out. Like,
oh wow.
Yeah, the first, like, I think, like, it was the
so
first.
You had to restart it?
The first 20 minutes. No, so like we got to the. Well, I'm not gonna. It was a certain scene.
We got about 20 minutes.
Yeah, it got about 20 minutes in. I'm not gonna say anything until those spoilers, but.
Does it involve a pocket square that goes?
No.
Okay.
Past that.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
That was really cool. How did you forget that part? That was one of the coolest parts.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, you didn't.
Dude,
okay,
what
well,
the F? All right, this guy just.
So we're
Levi.
we're just sitting there, and we're just watching the film, and it's like, and then the screen shuts off,
and the lights
turn on, and we're just like, what the heck? And like our theater was like fairly filled, and so we're just like, everybody's like, what the heck, you know? And it wasn't like until like 15 minutes later that the screen came back on, but it was still frozen. And then...
Oh, thank God it paused. Yeah. And you weren't like 15 minutes further into the movie. You're like,
no,
what's going on?
Yeah, they went back.
Yeah, they went back.
But then
like
there was a still
minutes.
frame for about another 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then...
Weird, because it's all digital.
No audio for another 2 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, no.
And so we missed like one line of dialogue that wasn't like crucial for the whole film, but it was like, hello?
Hey, kind of need all the Easter eggs here.
Right.
Yeah. But I do think, in retrospect, like, I think that was kind of important to kind of digest what just happened for
Interesting,
us.
yeah, because,
So I think what was going on at that moment was like, okay, I'm getting there. And maybe that stopped me from getting into the groove of the film.
Yeah.
But I do think it was important to be like, okay, let's take a pause. But I just don't think... And I've never had that happen before. It was wild.
Same. Never.
Yeah.
Because I was actually going to say the pace of this film is actually so fast that for you guys to have a 20-minute break probably made this feel a lot longer.
Yeah.
Because the pace is like, this movie doesn't stop, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I can't tell you when to go pee.
Yeah.
I don't think you can in this movie.
No,
like, thank God it's only 2 hours.
Yeah.
And just, like, pee right before. But, like, it does not let go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think it to something I didn't like of the movie. I didn't love its pace. I didn't love how frantic it was.
Ooh.
I didn't love
You don't
that,
like how strange it was.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah. I understand, like, I like that they did something different. I like the horror aspect. I guess maybe I wasn't prepared for it, so I think I wasn't like, oh, time to do Sam Raimi stuff. But it was just, I didn't think the acting was that great. Mm-hmm. I felt like it was just, it just didn't work for me. I didn't love, it was too kind of glossy. And I liked the later half of the movie more, but I don't think I was in your boat for sure when it first started. I was like, I don't know if I like this. So that's where I'm at.
Fair enough. Okay, so if you had to rate this movie, then where do you have it at?
Yeah, if it's like a round out of 10 kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like we do every week.
Yes. Are you? Because you put the original Doctor Strange at 1. Or, sorry. 1 out of 10, baby. At 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Is this better or worse? Or the same?
I think I gotta say it's a 6.5.
6.5. All right.
That's not too bad.
Fair enough.
It's better than Eternals.
That's a fair rating.
Well, I think it's right around Eternals for me, because I think they both. I liked Eternals enough for like the sci-fi element, because that's definitely more of my vibe.
Okay.
I think I rated Eternals about a 6, but in my mind they're pretty close.
Okay.
I liked what Eternals did, definitely in retrospect. I think with a few tweaks that movie's better. I think with this it was too bloated. I think there was too much going on, but almost somehow simultaneously not enough going on.
Okay.
I don't know. I think there's I don't know.
That's okay. We got him.
Yeah.
We'll get him in the end.
Yeah, we'll make it.
Levi, what would you rate this?
Oh. I think this was a far above and beyond Eternals, personally. I really did not enjoy that movie.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't like it. I was really excited for it, again, because of like the whole different aspect. 12, right? 12 people, I think 12 heroes or whatever.
Something like that.
All
that we haven't met before, so how could we care for them? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And so I think that he didn't like that comment.
I'm not disagreeing that Eternals had too many characters and I didn't care for them. I'm just saying. Anyway, sorry.
It's fine.
It's fine.
I don't want to fight on a movie I don't care about.
So I think that I don't think this was better than the original Doctor Strange, the first one, but I think this was fairly close.
Okay.
I would rate the first Doctor Strange at 8, and then the second one at a 7.5. I think IMDb is like a 7.6 right now.
Oh, nice.
So I think that their rating is fairly accurate, at least in my opinion. But yeah, I think a solid 7.5.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now what would you, Nick?
I guess I'm gonna have to be the bad boy LaCroix. No, I'm just
LaCroix.
Actually the good boy LaCroix. I have gone back and forth on this. 8's where I kind of put like movies where I'm like, good. I'm gonna at least tell you to go check it out. This one is it's gonna be an 8.5 for me.
Okay.
Just to get that out of the way. This reminds me of Age of Ultron, of Phase 4, where a lot of people will probably go, meh, and then we're going to kind of see like, damn, this thing went hard and did a lot of really cool stuff that we can now thank it for now. Like, or, you
That's
know,
a really,
5 years from.
Really great point.
And so I'm going to go with 8.5 because I have the foresight of how much I loved Age of Ultron and how I think this is the same thing.
Like
so you're rating it on a feeling that you don't even know.
No, I think it is that good.
Okay.
But I don't think it's going to get appreciated because I think a lot of people were like, hey, you said Multiverse of Madness, and, well, we'll get into spoilers, but, like, that title alone, I think everyone overhyped way too much. Yeah. So everyone's coming in. Doesn't matter what you've seen about it. Everyone was like, what? That's not enough. Yeah. Give us more. It's like, it's still just a Doctor Strange movie, everybody. Right. It's not Avengers Multiverse of Madness. It's Doctor Strange, you know? Yeah. So I just don't think people were... I think some of it's suffering points because it didn't meet our dream. And it's like, well, hold on. Yeah. Like, what are you wanting?
Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily true for my negatives for it.
No.
I agree that there's things that are like, oh, they could have done this, but like that, looking back, I'm like, if they did like 6 more cameos, that wouldn't have made it a better movie. It'd be fun, cool, great.
Sure.
But like, I just think for what this movie did to it kind of advance, it was just like, oh, I felt like a lot of like, oh, we saw Loki, now it's time for multiverse. We saw Spider-Man, now it's time for multiverse. Yep. And now it's Doctor Strange, now it's time for multiverse. It's like, okay, I've been waiting for this multiverse, and we kind of get the taste of it here.
Right.
But like, I don't think we got enough of it, and I think I agree with the Age of Ultron reference of like, this is a good groundwork, but I feel like we've been doing a lot of groundwork for the past
100%.
few years.
Yeah. I mean, I think the pandemic is the sole reason that it feels like it's been so long. I think it's partially they don't get enough time now to hang out and figure out what they're doing, and they're pushing movies and doing things that are like out. But you also have to remember, if we treat Phase 4 like Phase 1, nothing happens for like 6 movies.
Yeah.
And
that's fair.
But there's also TV shows that are there's a lot of like rebuilding going on. I mean, we have shows that aren't even like really even connected to the MCU. Like they just are, but they're so standalone. Yeah. So I think right now we're in like standby. Yeah. It's like here's your stuff to kind of get you by we haven't quite figured out how all the pieces are coming together, but we know multiverse is a part of it. Yeah. So here's a taste, here's a taste, here's a taste. And we're not probably going to get, like, multiverse, like, the big one for a while. I think we're going to see people, like, flirt with the multiverse for a while. Yeah. While they can still figure out what the end game is, which is probably going to be like a Secret Wars or like a your universe versus our universe. Right. Who wins? Well, you can't do that in Doctor Strange Multiverse.
No,
you know what
agree.
I mean? So I think they're playing the long game.
Yeah.
How do you make movies for 10 more years? You do movies like this.
Yeah, but I feel like in a 28 like movie series, it's like, do we need filler kind of thing? And this movie felt like a little fillery.
Okay. Well, I think that I would agree with the fact that, but just slightly, that it was a filler. And the reason I say that is because I don't know. I feel like this movie was a filler in the sense that it just kind of like was another, it just like a bigger step up of the introduction to the multiverse than Loki or No Way Home and things like that. But at the same time, I felt like it was also its own standalone film with obviously the introduction of American Chavez. And that was like the only new character we saw. We got the Minotaur. I can't remember that character's name.
So,
but like that was like
Funko Pops.
I mean, that's like a pretty well-known comic character if you read the comics. But I don't know. There are just aspects of this film, and I can't name them, that I felt like there was also a filler movie and a standalone movie. But one thing that I did kind of get frustrated about was it felt like this wasn't like a Doctor Strange sequel. Like Doctor Strange felt like it was like a lead up to Infinity War, whereas this one felt like it was just another lead up to the next thing. Sure. It wasn't like with Captain America Winter Soldier, it felt like that was like, it could be a standalone movie if this whole MCU didn't exist.
Right.
Like the first Avenger happened, he fell asleep and was in ice for 70 years, and then he woke up, and then Avengers happened, and then here we are again. However many years later, and he's still trying to get himself integrated into the current world.
Sure.
And so it's like if the first Avengers film or Age of Ultron, whichever one, didn't happen, I feel like we could watch the first and the second kind of back to back and understand like, okay, he's been frozen, he's back, now he's trying to get integrated. But if we were going to watch the first Doctor Strange and this new one, I feel like we would be so confused. Like if MCU didn't happen, like the events of No Way Home, No Way Home, but WandaVision, if that never happened, it's like, who are the, et cetera, et cetera. So
I agree. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's not like a big negative, but it was just like, I do like movies that could like stand alone as themselves, but I also like movies that continue a huge story.
Well, yeah, and that's what's weird about rating the MCU, because it's like if somebody's coming in and going, hey, I'm going to check out this MCU thing. Nick said that Multiverse of Madness is an 8.5. That's like saying Game of Thrones Season 3 is an 8.5. Guess I'll start there.
Yeah.
No. Hold on. No, you still have 2 seasons to watch. Like, you can't rate them and say, like, well, Nick gave Multiverse of Madness an 8.5 and he gave Inception an 8.5. Well, let's put those two together. This one doesn't make any sense, and this one still doesn't make any sense, but it's way better. That's the hard part about rating these movies.
Yeah, and it's hard to be like, hey, here's an 8.5. I recommend it. If you've seen 27 other movies.
Correct.
It's like, it's kind of tricky.
And I don't want to be gatekeepy at all. I would love more people to see the MCU, but we have reached the point where it's kind of like, hey, you've had 10 years, and you didn't watch them.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry, but Chapter 28 is not going to make a whole lot of sense to you. Like, I'm not saying that in like a...
It's like skipping halfway through the book.
We'd love to have you join us. Yeah. It's like, Stranger Things. You can't be like, you can jump in at Season 4, I guess, but like... because everyone else is going to, but like you probably just should get the other 3 out of the way. Like it's not going to make sense.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think it pains me to hate on a movie that has a Minotaur wizard, and that hurts.
I feel you.
Even though we got like so little of that character.
Yeah.
Or Sintrar, I think his name is, or Sin.
It was dope.
Sounds great.
And they just threw him in. I love it. They're like, hey, he's here now.
I think it's time we got to go into spoilers.
Please.
I think we gave our rating. I think we need to stop dancing around certain things. Nick's throwing up punches. We're gonna tussle.
Yeah.
This is a big rating gap between us, I think.
Warning for those of you that haven't seen the movie.
Yeah.
We're talking about spoilers.
We are
Trigger
doing
warning
this.
for Michael. Just get ready, Michael. Okay, before I get into like, because I've got some
Specific.
real deep thoughts. I think we should kind of like go out for dinner first. So like
Okay.
let's.
Buy me drinks first.
What do you guys feel like was the theme of this film? Like
bad.
what?
Just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm sorry.
Because that's gonna help me kind of explain. Like that's a good jumping off point. I guess if you want to get into more spoilery things, that's fine. But I just kind of wanted to tee us up with like what
was this movie about?
Yeah, what did you think it was about? Because that could probably help or hinder what the ultimate score was.
Well, I think it's about loss. It's about, now we're in spoilers.
Spoilers, yeah.
The whole point of Wanda becoming a villain is because she loses her children, or loses the idea of her children.
Yeah.
I think there's a big theme with even from the beginning, like the other doctor that talks to Strange, like he lost his brother or something.
His cats.
His cats.
Oh yeah.
I love that line.
Yeah.
I want to get into that in a second, but go
Okay.
ahead. Keep going.
And then Doctor Strange losing
Donna, his sister.
his what?
sister?
Strange.
Yeah,
Oh,
Doctor
yeah.
Strange's sister.
Is that what you're talking about?
Donna.
Yeah, and then with Christine,
Oh,
like
sure.
not having that. I mean, it
Yeah.
starts with a wedding
Yeah.
of this person that he
Oof.
loves that he can't have.
Oof.
So I think it's about Lost and us going to the lengths of
Yeah.
finding
Yeah.
it.
I agree. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that like I've seen Phase 4, I was telling Olivia this earlier. I was like, Phase 4 is definitely like the phase of everyone needs therapy in the MCU.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But it almost feels like every movie has been face your fears.
Yeah.
Like starting with Black Widow and still continuing with Doctor Strange. I can think of almost like every part has been like, what are you scared of? Well, Black Widow's scared of family. What are the Eternals scared of? Being known. What are
Big space dogs.
Shang-Chi.
big space dog- Shang-Chi is
Big
like
space dragons.
being a weapon that could be bad. Like No Way Home is being so responsible that like it hinders my life going forward. And Doctor Strange's is like he literally has to come face to face with himself, which is wild. He like gets to do it in such a cool way versus a lot of these other characters. But like his was facing his fear, which out of all the things was like probably being like loved because he probably doesn't feel like he deserves it because he messed up as a kid, you know, letting his sister die and stuff like that. But I just thought that was like really cool that like there seems to almost be a theme with all these movies that they're having to face themselves, and it like comes to a T with Doctor Strange literally having to face
Himself.
multiple times, which is pretty sick. Anyway,
That's good.
I
like
thought that was kind of neat. Anyway,
Go into the mirror dimension a little bit. You know what I mean?
well, and the big thing from the first one was what did the Ancient One want him to do was surrender.
Yeah.
Like surrender, Stephen, was like one of the main things. Like you need to stop being the center of the universe, and he realizes that when he's at the center of it, it doesn't lead to anything good. Like literally, the Sinister Strange is like one bad day away from what our Strange is.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway.
Famous Punisher line. You're one bad day away.
Exactly.
From being
Yeah.
me.
I mean, I love that line. It's and Sinister Strange just happened to look awfully similar to like our Strange out of all the different Stranges.
Sure.
He just had a longer goatee and like longer hair, but
Evil.
it's like
Minus the third eye.
yeah, minus the third eye, but like his outfit, and all that stuff. So I just thought that was like he never got to like it was like you're introduced, now go do Infinity War stuff.
Yeah.
And so in some ways I get why it doesn't feel like a natural sequel, but like a guy dying to his ego is something that's been played out in Tony Stark's arc so much, and it's like I just feel like that's just territory that like needs to stay over there, because if we keep going down that thought process, it's just going to keep getting compared to Tony Stark the entire time.
Yeah.
So his movie has to have, but also the multiverse, you know, like and other things, because I think if it was just a guy learning to give up control, it's kind of like the movie we've already seen before. So do we want the same movies because they'd be better, or do we want different movies so they're not all the same? So that's kind of why.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you. Both of you talk about like, facing your fears and like that sort of thing. But I also think, and throughout the movie, this question had been posed to not only Steven but Wong as like, are you happy? Like, it's like, is your current life situation bringing you joy and happiness and peace or whatever? And it's like, I don't think that Doctor Strange or Steven was able to fully answer that question throughout the whole movie, no matter how many times he was asked. Yeah. And I feel like it was not only his journey to try and find that happiness, and he eventually does kind of find it in a different Christine, in a different universe. But it's like, I feel like it was not only a journey to like at the great lengths you would go to avoid your fear, but also the great lengths that you would go to try and find happiness. Like for Wanda, she was going to outrageous lengths to try and get her happiness back to find her kids. Steven didn't purposefully try to go to great lengths to find a different Christine, and how he did in What If. But at the same time, I feel like that was just a consistent theme of happiness. It's like, are you happy? It's like, I don't know, am I?
Yeah, it almost feels like a question that he's like never asked himself, because he's like, well, I'm the Sorcerer Supreme, I'm the best. So
exactly.
And I obviously that means that I have to do this and this and this. But even he's now no longer the Sorcerer Supreme. Like they're doing a good job of like freeing this guy up from like anything that could possibly give him bragging rights.
Yeah.
And they're really breaking him down and all the things. But it also frees him up to just be like a free agent for all the teams now, you know, like he doesn't have to be the Sorcerer Supreme who sits there and gets bowed down to. Like that could just be Wong's gig, which Wong on the other end. Wong's like Sorcerer Supreme, but he's also like doing fight clubs. I love this guy. This guy's insane. This guy's just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, Wong was a beast.
What a guy. Okay, I guess should we just kind of like dive into some of the scenes that you guys liked? I mean, like this movie literally starts off with not our Doctor Strange, which I thought was pretty sick.
Yeah.
His magic looks different. It's white magic, and he's got a ponytail, which is 10 out of 10. Probably Benedict Cumberbatch's real hair, no doubt.
Probably.
What do you guys think of the opening or other Strange stuff?
That's fine.
Until it paused.
Oh yeah, it paused. Okay, so to clarify where it paused while Wanda was attacking the Sanctum Sanctorum, or wherever they were.
Carmitage.
Carmitage, yeah.
Hulk popping off.
Sorry. I thought it was way too cheesy.
Oh really?
Yeah, they're like, we gotta do the thing, and then we're getting attacked by a googly monster, and then I don't know. I didn't love it. I understand like dropping into the world. Like I dig that. I didn't love it. I didn't love the big tentacle eye monster attacking New York. But I did like when it got its eye popped out. That was pretty cool.
That was sick.
Yeah, the nice sound effect there was like, it was great. I was not really super impressed, and we talked before, but like, I wasn't super impressed by, I don't know, maybe the first half an hour of this movie.
Yeah.
It felt like, we gotta do this, and I just didn't love the look or the sheen of the movie. I think a lot of the camera work, he like pushed in a lot and then moved back and then pushed in at times to like really emphasize lines, and I didn't really care for that. So, yeah, I think that's just general things.
The scene I was talking about, though, was the cloak of levitation hides on his person. And so in the wedding, it's his pocket square. And so when he jumps off the roof,
yeah, that was cool. That was
like
pretty cool.
Suits up. Like, holy shit, we've never seen Doctor Strange suit up like that before. That's insane. He always just like walks in slow motion already geared up. So I just feel like the superhero Doctor Strange is kind of like a la like Iron Man, you know, now. Where he's like at a wedding and there's like, what's up, dude? You're gonna like go fight those guys? He goes, I guess, and then he just like whips out.
Okay.
It's, like,
I do remember that part.
Like,
that part's pretty cool.
Nick out of 10.
Yeah.
Nick out of 10. Scene. Love that.
Yeah. So like, yeah, for that initial scene, it was like, okay. I mean, it basically for me, it was just a way for them to set up Chavez.
Sure.
And like just to bring her into our universe. It's like, okay, she's here.
Yep.
Now we'll kind of progress through the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so like Defender Strange, that was really cool to see like his different. It was mostly like it seemed like a majority of his powers were like for defense. Like he had the ice to like to like freeze him, or like he had a spell to contain it.
Yeah.
It was like it wasn't really. He never went on the attack. It was just to prolong the time for them to be able to escape.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So yeah, I mean it was fine. I mean, the colors were really cool.
For sure.
But it was just like, okay, we can get, America Chavez into Dimension 616, and now she's here, and now we can go continue on with the movie.
Do you guys feel like the America Chavez of it all was not good? And if so, what would you have done otherwise? Because we've already done the whole Doctor Strange makes a mistake, multiverse mistake stuff. What would...
I don't mind bringing America Chavez in.
Because that's her power,
that's like
right?
That's like the whole point,
I mean, that's her thing.
I was more just shocked at her even just being in the movie. I was like, I don't know who this is. This is kind of wild. And I just thought her introduction and then going into Wanda, and I was like, now Wanda's evil. And it's like...
Yeah.
I just thought it was all too kind of quick. I know you got to get America Chavez into the world.
Yeah.
But I just don't think it was handled extremely well. And it's like, oh, now Wanda wants this girl that we don't know. I just feel like it was a lot of just unknowns.
Sure.
It was a lot of things that weren't solid.
Yeah.
And it was just like, you just got to get on board with this because we're now going.
Okay.
And so I thought I thought Mordo would be more of the villain in this movie.
Sure.
And that would be a lot. And maybe Wanda would be a hero, like we've seen her for a while, and then start to turn. And America Chavez helps for a while. I feel like I didn't personally like going right off the bat. It's like, you got to do this, this, and this, and now you're on board, or else, and we're off. So
yeah, the Wanda of it all is interesting because the finale of WandaVision kind of gets to the point where she's like, you're right, what I'm doing is wrong. I do need to give up my family so that these people can be safe. But there's the end credit scene of, okay, but now that I am the Scarlet Witch, maybe there's something in this book that can help me. I think the homework that the movie wants you to do is WandaVision takes place a few weeks after Endgame.
Yeah.
No Way Home takes place like a year and a half after Endgame. And so we're led to believe that she's just in this cabin all by herself reading this book for like 2 years. We just don't have a scene where it's like kind of gripping her and like corrupting her. But I think it's incredibly believable to think that she's probably batshit crazy by this point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but I don't teach their own. I
don't doubt that.
Okay.
I'm just like, I would like to have seen slightly more of that.
Yeah.
Like, don't
Not
have
just
it be
a
like,
stinger.
hey, Wanda's here. Oh, all the trees are dead.
Yeah. It would have been interesting to do, because the shock value of that scene would have disappeared if you showed anything that would have made it make more sense.
Right.
But I don't think the shock value of that scene was that shocking.
Well, it wasn't.
Oh, you knew she was gonna like twist at the end there. Oh, I thought he was like teaming up with her.
I don't know. I just like.
Okay, I get you.
So like the trailers really made it seem like she was gonna be, a good guy, and that she was gonna help Doctor Strange in this, multiverse adventure. But I think that for us and those that have seen WandaVision, it's like, okay, the end credit scene showed she was getting a little dark into that book, and like, okay, that lends to believe that she did kind of go crazy.
Yeah.
But this movie was like, for us familiar viewers, I think we had like okay, this is kind of weird because this is not what I remember last time we saw Wanda.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But like for those that haven't seen Wanda, I feel like it would have been like a pretty big twist.
Sure.
They might not have understood. Okay, what the heck is this book? How is whatever. But like for us, I feel like I was like I was going into that field of those apple trees and the cottage. I was like, this seems a little bit weird, but I'm gonna go along with it.
Sure.
I still have like in the back of my
skeptical,
mind. Yeah, I was a little skeptical. But then when the switch happened, I was like, okay, I'm not surprised, but like this makes sense. This is continuity from WandaVision. Like, yeah, she did go crazy.
Fair enough.
So yeah, I
I think the jump from reading a book, which it's the Book of the Damned or whatever. I think sitting in a cabin reading a book to murdering hundreds of wizards is pretty quick.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the only reason that I feel like it's somewhat believable is that every scenario where she got her kids, Vision didn't exist. She wants this so badly that it doesn't even make sense for her character to want it that badly.
Yeah.
Or at least the scenario where at least Vision's there too. I mean, we spent 6 movies with this girl going, I mean, at one point in Endgame, she goes, "You took everything from me."
Yeah.
To Thanos, like, you took Vision from, I had to kill my own husband. And now the only scenario she can find is the one where her 2 sons are alive.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like it's really Wanda. So for me, like, that was enough for me to be like, this book has done some stuff. But it probably could have benefited from a beat that was like, maybe she's talking to the god that created the book. Or it eventually just finally grips her and she's... Yeah. But I think it's...
Honestly, like a 5-minute scene would have done wonders for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. I get it.
But if you're going to go to the lengths of like, all right, time to kill all the wizards... Just make another town. Or if you can create WandaVision again, is that the same as killing? Is that better or worse?
Well, I mean, all she wanted was America Chavez. They decided to protect her.
Right, no, I get that. But it's if you can create all this in your mind, then why not just
go out to a piece of land somewhere in the world and just kind of create a world
I see what you're saying. Why not just create a Westview where Westview
right, and maybe it's not real. I guess that's the argument. It's it's not real, but then you're going and literally killing yourself.
Yeah, I think the fact that it doesn't.
I get it. I get
her
villain, but
is why it makes sense to me.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Because the book, I just don't think they did a good job of teeing us up what the Darkhold was actually doing to her, except for that stinger.
Yeah.
I mean, Agatha tried to touch on it, I think, a little bit to be like, hey, don't mess with that, and you've unleashed something more evil than this. I mean, there's literally a line where she's like, you'll have power beyond that of the Sorcerer Supreme. It was basically telling us you're about to go fight Doctor Strange. But it was just a year and a half ago, so it doesn't feel like if WandaVision came out this January, I think we probably would have been a little bit more forgiving of it, because we're just oh, okay, I get it, pain, whatever. And she's finally like, can I just have not pain for a little bit?
Well, yeah, because I mean, almost every movie she's been in, she's lost somebody. The first time she appeared in Age of Ultron, lost her brother. Civil War, she didn't lose anybody, but she had to go through that traumatizing experience of blowing up the building.
Yep.
And then Infinity War happened. Vision died.
Killed her, husband. And then it doesn't
twice,
mean anything. Yeah.
Killed him. She killed him, and then Thanos returned. Turned the clock back, and then killed him again.
And now she finds one person who has the one power that she needs to just get to her sons, and she's like, "Hey, can I just kill this one person so I can have children?"
Yeah.
I get it. It's still effed up, but I think she's just kind of like, "Look, I've kind of been through a lot, and now this book that's corrupting me is you've definitely been through a lot, Wanda. It didn't vocalize itself." So I think we just were led to believe that this is Wanda. It's no, this is Wanda, but to the saddest degree, with more powers than she's ever had before, and a book that's telling her to do some nasty shit. So I just think that part I was actually thankful for that it happened so quickly, because I was like, are we gonna make her a villain halfway through this movie, and then have it be that short lived?
Yeah.
At least she just was evil from the start, so that way we could just go.
But I could also I know why she's so pissed off, quite frankly. Is I mean, in the movie she says, you break the rules and you're praised for it, you're a hero, but I break the rules and I'm punished or ridiculed. That's not fair. It's I mean, yeah, you're right, that isn't fair. But then again, Strange did it for the betterment of everybody else, while she did it for the betterment of herself.
Yeah.
For more selfish reasons. So at the same time, I do understand why she's so frustrated and upset, but it's it's a little twisted.
Sure. That was the other question that I wanted to kind of get into a little bit, because she's referring to the time stone, him giving it up, kind of breaking the rules. He's literally, his only job was to keep the time stone safe, right? And Nick West, the doctor that he talks to, kind of touches in on this at the beginning, where he's like, my brother died and my 2 cats died. He's like, yeah, well, that was fate of the universe. I think I made the right choice. And he's like, yeah, but did you have to save us that way? He kind of questions thanks for saving us, but like, did you have to do it that way? And another thing that's true about the time stone is you can't see beyond your existence when you use it.
Right.
And so he made a call for all of the universes only because he knew that he lived in the universe that survived. Like, again, you're the one who has to hold the knife. He didn't even consider any of the ones where maybe he dies and there's no snap.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe they win and that buys them enough time that Vision can separate from the stone and they can destroy the stone or something. But he didn't even consider those because he had to see the one where he could actually see beyond the victory, and it involved him. And so, like, we're still dealing with a broken Strange 2 where he did break the rules, but he's considered the hero, but it just led to 5 years of suffering for everyone. I mean, it changed the whole world, you know? And so I think, like, there's some real things that, like, we kind of can, like, just write that off as, like, my man. Because we only had to wait a year to see them all come back. We didn't have to live the 5 years and, like, you know, see all the stuff that they went through.
Sure felt like 5 years though.
Oh, my gosh, yeah. Dude, as soon as I left with Thanos sitting in his cottage in Infinity War, I was like, this is going to be the longest year of my life.
Seriously.
But I just thought that was beautiful because, like, he can't even at that point, as the Sorcerer Supreme, he still couldn't even consider a reality where he didn't exist because he's the only one he thinks is the safest to protect it, which is what Defender Strange is still struggling with. I'm the only one who can deal with your powers. Let me take them from you. And that's like his whole thing, you know? Yeah. So he had to change by the end of this, or Wanda would have been right. And so, like, because of that line, it set him on a trajectory where he finally gets to be the right Strange that he needs to be. So I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Granted, it might have been a little quick for her to get to that point. I just thought that was like, whoa, that's a lot deeper than I thought this movie was going to go. But I was like, you're questioning him saving all of the people with just a 5-year gap. That doesn't seem like that big of a deal. But then I think about, like, oh, what if I was sitting here, we were doing a podcast, and I go upstairs and my wife and daughter have been snapped. When they come back in 5 years, you think I'm going up to Doctor Strange and being like, thanks, my guy? Hell no. Yeah. Like, I'm devastated for like 5 years. Right. Like, who knows what I do in those 5 years, you know? So it put a lot of things into perspective for me. And I agree. Like, I think she can get easily miswritten, but it's just like, dude, look at what she's, like, gone through, you know? Yeah. I still don't condone murdering anybody. No matter what multiversal power you have. You're still evil,
just
Wanda.
Just a fair warning for...
And honestly, like, if she didn't kill that many people, like, we probably still would find some way to sympathize with her. You know, like, she had to pop off for us to be like, you're bad. Oh, you're really bad now.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I'm saying she's almost justified. It's like, okay, I get it. I get what you're doing. I'm just like, to the extent of, like, now time to kill 500 people or whatever. All of the...
Yeah, she definitely did the, like, you made me do this. Yeah, I get it. For sure.
I feel like if it would have been way more different if, like, Envision actually had the kids before Endgame, and it was just the kids and Vision that, you know, disappeared, and Wanda stayed alive, and this Doctor Strange movie was like her revenge on Strange for that happening, for him making that decision. Like, that would have just been obviously a way different tone of a movie, but, like, obviously she's got her kids back, but she still has some sort of vendetta against Strange.
Right.
That would have been way different.
I think in the grand scheme of how they were writing this movie was technically supposed to come out before WandaVision. Something was going to happen where Wanda was probably actually an ally. This whole movie was written with her as the ally, and probably Mordo was the bad guy. And then something happens where he makes another call, and it F's up Wanda's life. And so she pops off and goes over to Westview and then goes crazy. And then that's what tees everything up. It flows a lot smoother when you do it that way.
I think so.
And so this movie feels like that puzzle piece that you're like, it's got to fit here, dude. It's got to. And they just figured out a way to just, like, and they got like 80% of it was just like, all right, it fits. They got it. But there was definitely parts of this movie that were like, they had to randomly bring up Spider-Man. They didn't act like it's basically the same plot where you're helping a teenager do some multiversal things. And so, like, this could have teed up where maybe Doctor Strange like had dabbled in the multiverse, so now he's like, ooh, now I can mess with it, and then maybe that's how you tee up the Spider-Man thing.
Yeah.
It's like he's already known the multiverse, you know, at one point. He even says Hawkeye has a mohawk in this movie. That's how dated this script was. He's still Ronin in the script of this movie.
Yeah.
So it's just like
catch that.
there's just like little things like that where you're just like, dude. So I think half of this movie was written in like 2018.
Yeah,
and I think the rest of it was written in 2022 or 2021.
I think to your point of like, I don't think Strange ever comes face to face with like his decision of like being that selfish. Because I think in the end, because he does the book and then now he has this third eye, and it's like I don't think he's gripped. I think you can say like, oh, there's that theme of like, oh, him coming to terms with what he decided to do for the world. I just don't think he really ever does that as a character. And he's like, now I have the third eye, and now we're gonna save the world from this evil, whatever it was called, the
Dark Dimension.
I think
or no,
the Incursion.
Yeah, the Incursion.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I just think like now he has this new power, and he's gonna mess it up all over again because he gets cocky again. And so like, I mean, that's his character, that's his thing. But like, I just don't think he ever came to the point of like of humility ever.
Yeah, because I mean, the final act he commits is like, you can't ever dream walk. And he's like, well, I guess I'm dream walking. I get that. But even in his dead corpse, which okay, we need to talk about that for a second.
Yeah,
but we'll get there. In his dead corpse, like there's kind of this and this is where I'm like, I'm gonna get you, Michael. I'm gonna get you. I'm really trying hard with this guy. I'm really trying. He gets to the point where the only way he can save her is to use a broken version of himself. Okay,
I'm with you.
And Christine at one point helps him believe, because he's off his rocker a little bit, and Christine comes in and says, hey, aren't you the mystic arts like guy? Like, you can command those spirits. They're just little demon dudes. He's like, all right, I guess I'm going to turn into Dracula for a second with this dope-ass cape that's made of people. This is insane. That's shot 10 out of 10.
Super
I mean,
cool.
if the movie was like, welcome Marvel Studios, zombie cape flies for a little bit and the movie ends, it's a 10 out of 10 movie. I don't even know what the hell's happening.
For sure.
Anyway, he gets there, and instead of being the one that casts the spell, instead of being the one who saves the day, he lets go of the knife and he goes, you can do this. And granted, it's cheesy as all hell because it's Sam Raimi, and it's dumb as hell, but it's also like perfect because it's the Iron Man giving Spider-Man a chance. It's the mentor going, you know what? I've reached the point where even my magical powers can't fix what's happening. She's about to pop off, and the only thing she can do is come face to face with herself. She's like, well, that's the one power that I have. Boom, window. And like, none of Wanda's decision comes from something Doctor Strange did. He didn't save the day. America did, you know? America.
God bless America.
God bless America. Big old flag.
America.
And so, yes, I agree. He still went down the path, but because he's the Strange that was willing to let other people save the day, there might still be hope for him, even though he's now cursed.
Yeah.
Instead of, we're not going to see the bad fruit yet, besides this third eye, which I'm also still not sure why that's a bad thing. Seems pretty dope. I don't see
Nick, you're going down a road.
I'm gonna have to check out this Darkhold book and just check out.
I mean, like, I'll see it at my local library.
Let me dream walk a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, so with that said, if you would have figured out the consequences to his actions on top of all the things that have already happened in this movie, I think you would have been like, no dude, way. It's too much. It's still too much. You would have gotten a third eye.
It's too much.
Did I win you over?
No.
Damn it. He's stuck.
We still have more chances.
It's okay.
We still have more
chances. The purpose of this podcast is not to convince him, but
true.
That's my purpose.
Yeah, I think that you hit it on the head as far as the ending. I mean, again, like you said, as cheesy as it was pretty cool. Again, I really did not like. That was one of the things that I was gonna say is, I didn't like how quickly, just like that.
Agreed.
I mean, like, again, that's like a common theme within
believe in yourself.
Superhero movies. Yeah, believe in yourself. You got this. Like, you can do it. But it's like, no.
Yeah, but she's also 12. I mean, like, what can he say? Like, hey, just think really like is he gonna give her a thesis, you know, or like
No,
what
yeah,
what
of
do
course.
you do, you know?
I mean, but it's like somebody traveling the multiverse is like that's a pretty insane power.
It is.
But then like for somebody like Doctor Strange to have just gone through so much trial and tribulation to be able to have just to open a portal in the first Doctor Strange movie, it's like it kind of just seems like it just like dampens her power for me. Like it just like it for her just to be like to open a portal to wherever she wanted, when before it's like she had to be under a specific circumstance of her being afraid to open a portal and not know where she's going. It's like
yeah,
like, you know, mastering that is like obviously, I mean, I'm not a superhero, so I don't know if like how much it's gonna master, but at the same time it's like it just seems like so
It's OP.
it is, and it's like a little annoying, but
sure.
it's like, I don't know, I guess I'm the person that like believes that it's like I don't know, I think that you should have to like work super hard to be able to get to a certain level. And so for like Doctor Strange, he had to work really hard and read a bunch of books and study spells to be able to become as powerful as he is. But her, it's like she's been gifted with this power now, like just in one moment where somebody's like, I believe in you. Okay, I got it.
Yeah,
It's a little frustrating, but again, a lot of superhero movies do it, and so it's like it's not that infuriating, but it's just like, come on.
Yeah.
Like at least have her been like maybe like I think it would have been better for me if like one time through the movie she like actually did it, but like she didn't know how. Like, but it had nothing to do with her being afraid. Like if she was like, I'm gonna really concentrate, and then do it, and then, you know, I don't know I feel like if they would have built it up instead of her constantly saying, I don't know how I do it. It just happens.
When they do the big jump, that epic shot,
Yeah.
is that because she needed to get it? I can't remember.
No,
what
that
caused
was when Wanda was like gonna kill them.
Yeah, she was about to suck the power out of her, and she was like in terror, and then Strange breaks out of, I think he was trapped, or like he wakes. I think he'd been like knocked out, and then tackles her through the portal, and then that's when they kind of tumble through all the different multiverses.
Yeah.
So it's like every moment she's been afraid. The first time it happened when that bee landed on her finger,
Right. Yep.
And then she freaked out, and her mom's kind of got sucked in as well as her, and then obviously when the movie started. But so it just that was one of the things I was like,
I think that's fair, and I didn't love that part either. But I think there's a point to be made about like, this is probably like the first time that she's probably had someone who believed in her.
That's true.
For sure.
And losing your parents and finding and being lost in this multiverse, and then being probably accepted by this other Doctor Strange, and then getting failed by him, and then I think there's something to that. I think it's cheesy as all heck, and it's just like, oh, if I believe 10% more, then I can lift up this building or whatever. It's just like, okay, great, good job, you did it.
Fair enough.
But
she is. It's the unfortunate part of your plot device. Because Marvel sometimes does that. Is they want to show off your powers, and so sometimes just making it the plot is the power. But so yeah, I think she suffers from, hey, you're technically canon, who can do this. So. We're not ready to introduce any of the other characters who might be able to help. They tease them, so like we can get into the Illuminati, because I'm surprised we haven't talked about them quite yet. But
dancing around,
it's coming. It's coming.
Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards, is in this movie.
Yes,
and he mentions that he has children, and one of his children would be Franklin Richards, which is the kid who's like, I just make universes while I'm sleeping and like just hanging out. Like, so like there are like. I think we're about to get launched into some pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But going forward, they have now written themselves into a corner where it's like, okay, how's America ever going to be in danger if she now knows how to do it? You're going to have to probably just take her out of the game.
Yeah, I feel like her character, it's like the Professor X of the X-Men. It's like, how do you take him out?
Yep.
Like, how do you...
Because you can't have a movie if he's on his game.
Yeah. So, like, I feel like her character, for me, was more of a means to an end than an actual, like, here's a fleshed-out character that we want to do.
Yeah. The movie was still about Wanda and Strange. That was, I mean,
she was the embodiment of a MacGuffin, basically. She's like,
correct.
We need your power, so we're gonna fight after you, and then so
it does make sense though that she would get sought after the way that she does.
100%.
You know, like,
That's
and
so much
if her power was immediately, I might have killed my moms, and now everyone's after me. The one person that tried to kill me looks a lot like this guy, but this is the one guy who's finally said, I believe in you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I've said this on the podcast before. Hey, parents, maybe just like say it to your kids every now and then, so that way they don't have to travel through 70 multiverses and then hear it from a guy named Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would just help, in general.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah. I mean, so like one thing I did want to say about her character was it just didn't. It wasn't obviously her main character. And the actress, she was fine. I mean, it wasn't
For
like
America.
anything. Yeah, for American Chavez. Yeah, it wasn't like anything special. She was fine. Good introduction
God
to
bless
the.
America.
Yeah, God bless America.
God bless.
It was just like it was a good introduction to the character. I'm sure they'll go, into great lengths to flesh out her character more in other movies or shows or wherever they decide to do with her. But I thought about this a while ago, and I know the TVA isn't real, but it would have been really interesting to see if like they had shown up, because like she obviously travels different universes, or like at least been like, because like when they traveled through one of the universes, you could see the 3 heads of the living tribunal.
Correct.
And so like is that gonna play into it? Is there gonna be laws put in place? Like maybe
Right.
like her powers she can still have her powers, but not use it as freely as, kind of like the whole Sokovia Accords. Like,
that's interesting. Yeah. So my understanding of how the TVA now functions post Loki is that there was one timeline, one universe, and when somebody would do something that would start to create one, they killed it.
Yeah.
Well, as soon as they killed He Who Remains, they're effed. There's
Right.
no
Order.
there's no way to now so I think you can
Contain it.
freely travel. And without that, then Doctor Strange, when he casts his spell, wouldn't have brought Toby and Andrew back into it, because there were no multiverses. It was just Tom Holland.
Yeah.
It was just our MCU. Like, we are the center of it. Which then leads me to my next question. Why are we 616? That doesn't make any sense.
Like being that high of a number?
Yeah,
Or-
I mean, like, if we were the original timeline,
Well, that was
I get it. It's the comics,
Yeah,
whatever.
that's the only
But there's
answer.
also an animated universe, so why wasn't the animated universe 616? Because
Yeah.
616 is like the comic book universe.
Yeah.
Anyway, a little pissed. It's fine.
I don't know, because numbers and
Also, Mysterio said we were 616 and Far From Home.
Yeah.
Which is like just
He
like
doesn't know shit, which
Yeah.
is wild.
yeah.
he guessed it, or like whoever was writing.
Yeah,
'cause, like,
out
they
of
had
the
a,
infinite multiverse, he was like 616 sounds
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, you son of a bitch.
yeah. So like because I had watched a few things after we saw the movie, and he brought that up. It's like Mysterio mentioned that we were 616, but obviously he wasn't from the multiverse. It was obviously
Yeah, he
a
was
whole.
just a guy. Yeah,
it was a whole scam
Lame.
or
stupid.
uh,
They should have said we're one.
Yeah.
That's it.
just
Should have said
dimension
it.
one.
Would have fixed
616
everything.
adds up to 13, so, happy Sam Raimi the 13th,
And
you know?
838, that always has to end with the number. Like, it's just, what's going on?
So I don't know. I think it was just like, I think what MCU is trying to do is try to stay as true to the comics as they can. So they're just gonna keep it continuity wise
Yeah,
and keep it
I-
616.
But then the question is like, oh, why in the comics is it 616? It's just like
Yeah.
because they wanted.
Yeah,
I
sure.
think it was just because they didn't want to be one. I guess
Because
No,
then-
totally.
Stanley.
But I
Yeah.
think, like, I'm led to believe unless Loki is somehow the main time, like, I don't get it, but like my understanding was that they plucked him because in his universe, which would have been Avengers, that's fine, but as soon as he went outside of that, not fine, brought back into the TVA. So like our 616 timeline is correct, but the multiverse didn't exist until Loki.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe
Okay.
it did at one point, but then like
Well, then it
Doctor
got
Strange
contained.
kind of talks like the multiverse is something of which we know frighteningly little.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even know about it because it wasn't created yet, and then you just get all sorts of
Yeah, it's,
effed.
at that point it's just like whatever.
But I think Loki was when it originated,
Mm-hmm.
and now we're getting glimpses of it. Like the Darkhold wouldn't have worked for Wanda, hearing other voices, because those kids didn't exist in another universe
Right.
until Loki caused it. So I think they do need to do a good job now that they've started to toy with this.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us what the rules are,
Yeah.
because
that's hard.
so I think Ant-Man, I'm hoping, is kind of the one that
Yeah.
clears everything up. They moved it up instead of Captain Marvel, so we'll get it sooner next year. And Kang the Conqueror is supposed to be in it,
Mm-hmm.
which is a future descendant of Reed
Reed
Richards.
Richards.
Sister the Reed.
Mm-hmm. Because
So-
Reed and Sue has his 2 kids. and then one of their kids has King, right?
Yeah.
Or
Nathan Richards, Nathaniel Richards, or whatever. So he becomes one of the.
Yeah.
So anyway.
And the fact, I'm just gonna say it, and the fact that it was just like Reed Richards was played by John Krasinski is just like huge fan service. Regardless of whether they, and I pray that they continue on with this next Fantastic Four, because it seems like, and I told this to Michael and others, each time that they have introduced a multiverse character, it's always played by the same actor. So like Doctor Strange, obviously Benedict Cumberbatch, like Defender Strange, Sinister Strange, even in What If, and Supreme Strange in the Illuminati
all
world.
Except for Spider-Man. That's the only one that.
Well, right. Has all been the same actor, so it leads me to believe that the next Fantastic Four film is going to have John Krasinski as Reed Richards, et cetera, et cetera.
It's at least a possibility.
Yeah.
Well, and John Watts stepped down as a director, so some people are speculating that even at it worst, maybe they just have him come on and direct it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
insane, but
because he directed it and played one of the main characters in A Quiet Place, and he killed
totally
it.
Do it. Yeah.
So.
What did you guys think of Reed Richards? Like, what? I mean, obviously we don't get more than maybe 3 minutes with him, but like, was it just the awe of like, holy shit, the nerds did it, or was there like, I don't know if you guys are big Fantastic Four fans, but like, he's obviously the big one. I mean, Patrick Stewart was kind of already teased a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm also just kind of like, okay, I mean, I'm not looking for anything new. You've always been Charles Xavier, so you're gonna be Charles. You're not gonna be like, oh, this is like a hippie Charles Xavier. It's like, nope, same guy. It's just 97 X-Men soundtrack
when he with the same like yellow wheelchair and the classic green suit. Yeah, that was dope.
Because I've heard some people are like, Reed Richards isn't as much of a dick as he's supposed to be in this movie.
Oh,
he's very like actually like
calm.
Yeah,
like
it seems like an older, more experienced Reed Richards. So maybe, and he has kids, and so it's like maybe he's learned some stuff.
Well, and he's a part of this Illuminati, which is like a very highly esteemed group of superhuman individuals. So it's like maybe you have to be kind of a dick to participate. I don't know. I mean, that's obviously not a requirement. It's not like you know in the resume they say, hey, make sure you have
the worst
registered douche. But
I think I was more shocked by like, oh great, he's here, super cool, and then his character was like, all right, it's fine. Like it's I would need a whole movie to
there wasn't
judge
a whole lot of time to play.
I mean,
I couldn't gauge.
I was more impressed by his string cheese than his
the string cheese. Yeah, we didn't get much stretching out of him. Like he kind of like showed up with like one little like that was it. Like they didn't get
and then he
did.
Yeah.
Well, like his entrance was pretty cool. He kind of like teleported.
Yeah, that was dope.
Would seem like
That's
with his technology. So like I don't know, that
are we led to believe
cool.
that maybe the Ultron drones were probably like he figured out how to make Ultron good?
Well, it could. Oh yeah. I mean, Hank Pym was. We don't know if he was in the world or Tony Stark was in the world.
But that's what blows my mind that like Wanda picked that universe, because it's like it's not only a universe where your kids are at, but this Wanda actually seems to just be like a pretty solid mom. You picked a universe where Ultron works, which means Vision never happened. And I'm pretty sure, I think some people have said that Thanos, because Thanos gets like 1v1 by Doctor Strange, which, hey, would love to have seen that. I think he doesn't have the Mind Stone. Like, it never got to him.
There was like a still shot of like what stones he has and doesn't have.
So
it was I mean, in the corner when it did that flashback to
just stabbed
the
by his
four,
own sword.
he was stabbed with his sword, and then he's kind of lying there, and you can see he's got space, reality, soul, and power. Those four, and then he's missing time and the soul stone.
Dude, let's go.
So he's missing those two. So like the continuity, because like in the fight, and they look like they were fighting on Titan.
Those are the last two stones that he gets. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, he wins on Titan. Oh, dude,
it's cool.
That's awesome. And he doesn't have a goatee. That was wild.
Yeah.
Just that was the craziest part about this whole movie.
Babyface Strange.
Yeah.
Babyface Strange. But no, that's also what helped kind of give me like, oh, Wanda's off her rocker. I mean, like, she has been pretty happy with this robot man, and she lost him, and now he's barely mentioned.
Yeah.
So something's off. You need to find a reality where you have a whole family. And she's like, no, I'm a mom. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
Your whole character was that you're a wife to this guy and you love him so much. So that's when I knew, like, okay, something's up.
Yeah.
They just didn't explain it very well.
Yeah.
I think we got the in that moment the craziest cameo of the movie, which is Blackagar Boltagon as
Black Bolt, baby.
Black Bolt. And what the heck was that?
From
He can
Inhumans.
kill you with his mind or his
I'm
voice.
sorry.
I did like how he was like fully donned in his classic suit
That's
with
true,
the tuning fork on his forehead.
It's dope. Because he has to like whisper. Because like if he were to like scream, planet just blows
Done.
up. That's like his thing.
Yeah.
So he just sits there quietly and never uses his power.
And it did look like he used sign language when when Doctor Strange was in front of the whole Illuminati. So it's like, okay, like, yeah.
True.
So it was cool to see him, and then
Captain Carter.
So I was spoiled. They had they started releasing that in the TV spots, and I didn't intend to see it.
The shield.
Yeah, they just had the shield, and I saw it. I'm like, dang it! Like, I wish I would have been able to see that in person. But I was like, okay, like that was cool.
Reed Richards was spoiled for me ahead of time.
Oh no!
As John Krasinski or just Reed Richards?
No.
Yeah, I was like scrolling on YouTube, and it's bearded him, which could be anything.
Yeah.
But they're just like Reed Richards Illuminati scene. I'm like, come on! It's
Oh,
Thursday
man.
afternoon. Like, who the hell has this? Like,
Dude.
That's
so I mean, it's fine. He was obviously like a pretty safe bet because Reed Richards is for sure on the council, whereas Tony Stark was kind of more of a.
Flip the
I
coin
mean, I
up in
would
the
have. I think you could have just not had Black Bolt and just had Tony Stark, but it is what it is.
I think they're saving. I think they're saving, as you kind of talked about before, of like they're saving some of those like bigger cameos, like Chris Evans,
this
as
gave
Human
us a
Torch,
taste.
Tony Stark as
This is the best way to do it too. Do it with characters that we don't care about. Like if they
Yeah.
would have had Tony Stark come on and you kill him,
Yeah.
Captain Carter was kind of cool and I felt bad, but like at the same time it was like this makes sense. You can't fight Wanda with a shield and the super soldier serum.
Yeah.
And they went off, dude. Like she popped off.
Yeah.
It's do you guys still think like PG-13 correct? Because there's some people who are like, it should have been R.
This is
It was intense. It was pretty far PG.
It just wasn't really bloody, which I think is what saved it.
Yes.
Like she's covered in like motor oil instead of like blood and stuff like that.
Yeah. I don't know. I think this for a Marvel film, this really it rides that line. But like for any other general R-rated film, not even close.
Right.
Same with the horror aspect. Like this like is pretty horror filled, but like to be categorized as a horror movie like The Conjuring or Insidious or those style of movies, it's like not even close.
Yeah.
But yeah, for a Marvel film, this is as besides like Logan and Deadpool. This is like the closest MCU film I think we'll get to a rated R. Because like if you think like when Wanda kills Black Bolt, it's pretty disturbing. She like shuts his mouth. Sure. He like freaks out
like
and
the
screams.
Boys, kind of, if you ever watch The Boys or whatever.
Yeah. He freaks out and screams, blows the back of his head out. I mean, you can't see anything, but like you could see mush, which is his brain, just like hanging off to the side of his head. It's like that's pretty demented.
Dope.
That's pretty dark.
Yeah.
I mean, like Reed Richards' string cheese was kind of PG, no blood. It was just like, just pop. And then Carter's shield getting like sliced through her stomach. Yeah. That was pretty crazy.
Well, she just kind of like goes like this, and you're like, what? And then you see the shield hit the wall, and you're like, it went through her.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Well, and then Xavier got his neck stabbed.
Yeah.
That was wild.
Which was a creepy moment in the film. Like you could see the red smoke kind of coming behind him.
I love that scene because you get to see captive Wanda of like, hey, I'd like to go back now to like being a mom and like, nope, Scarlet Witch is here. And it was so stark, like so like white, and then just red.
The red,
smoke.
it was good. It was good.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's some people who are like, I took my kids to this. How dare you? It's like it's still PG-13. Like I get it. It is definitely. I told some of my friends like this is the scariest it's ever been, but you have to understand that these movies are not scary at all. Like it's not the mirror reflection scene is quite good and really like well done, I think.
Yeah.
And then there's some gruesome stuff, and then she kind of turns into like Jack Nicholson from The Shining. She starts running after them, and it's like this is awesome. Like there's some like cool nostalgia. It almost feels like it's trying to live some of those like beats of because then she like crawls out of the like mirror, kind of like the ring lady and stuff like that,
gong or whatever it was.
Yeah,
that was
some twisted stuff,
contorted
like,
body.
This is wild.
Yeah,
she is popping off. So
yeah, that was definitely really cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed. I think I enjoy that a lot too. I think my favorite scene though is when they fight with the music. Oh, it's so cool.
The music notes?
Nice.
The music
that
notes
seems
fight.
to actually be like a point of like contention. Like people are like, "Oh, it's so out there." And it's
Oh,
like
really?
you're
I
watching a
loved
movie
it.
called Doctor Strange,
I loved it.
the Multiverse of Madness.
Nothing is off the table.
I thought it was so
Yeah.
cool. Highlight of the film for me.
Yeah,
hands
that
down.
scene was sweet.
That was sick. Yeah, Sinister Strange. I liked it a lot. And just like again, it's the color of magic and stuff too. Like, so the dark one was using like purple. And
Yeah.
I just love the visuals of that. And
Yeah.
the movie looks so different in the second half too, because you're not in just like the normal, world.
I think that's what I liked too. It didn't have that glossy kind of feel. Then you got that kind of darker tone. I liked that a lot more
Yeah.
than kind of the bright, flashy like what it had for like the first. Even when they went to not Sancta Sanctorum, but
Carmartage?
Yeah.
Carmartage? Yeah.
like,
Carmartage.
where they fight. When the fight there, I was like, I didn't like that fight scene where she's like just blowing everybody up, but I liked the fight scene with Evil
True.
Strange and with the Illuminati.
And how they like created the big shield and like did some cool like,
Yeah.
magic
Yeah.
stuff. That was kind
Worked
of
together.
neat. Worked together.
Yeah, I thought the beginning was more glossy, but when we get to the darker, I liked that a lot more.
Well, and the fact that like Wanda pops off and she's like, "You have like an hour or whatever," and he's like, "Oh shit, I'm not even gonna try to fight you.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go back home."
Yeah.
Like, he's like, "Hey guys, she's coming."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Nick, what was your turning point?
So when it first opened up, I told Kate when I was watching it, I was like, "Oh shit, this is sick," because like they just started us off with this book of Ashanti or whatever.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, whatever, MacGuffin. I don't care
Sure.
about that, but I was just like, we're doing it. We're already in the multiverse. We're
Yeah.
doing it. And then it slowed down, and it's like, oh no, you want me to care about Christine Palmer? I don't think anyone does. I don't even know if Doctor Strange
The
does.
girl,
Like,
Rachel McAdams.
I love Rachel McAdams. I just don't think like 6 years later I'm like, you know what? I think he still loves her, because there's been like 4 movies where he doesn't even mention her by name.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a little hard for me. Now, granted, they're both such good actors that by the end, and she goes, I think at one point he's like, maybe we could end up together, and then she goes like, what an incursion that would be, like basically assuming that if like they totally got it on, that it would like ruin the multiverse, which was pretty wild. Anyway, but he's like, I loved you in every universe. I was like, okay, if you guys weren't as good as you were, you guys are definitely not top tier couple of the Marvel universe.
yeah.
You're very much just kind of like a. So I think that kind of got mended later on, but I think at first I was just kind of like, I just don't think I believe that he's still messed up about Christine. He's just doing way too much.
Okay.
Mm.
And then as it started to dig deeper and you get to know more about Strange and you start to see his flaws, because the only flaw we've ever seen, he never really like. I don't feel like by the end of the first movie, ego has been destroyed. Like, I think it's still. He still pretty much gets rewarded for like doing the things that and so I think for me, like when it switched is when you finally start to get some beats. It might have been when the pizza can be served in ball form. That might have done it for
Mamma
me.
Mia.
Pizza Papa.
Pizza Papa. Bruce
Campbell.
Pizza Papa.
Pizza balls.
And I think it was the scene where, they're diving through the multiverse, and it's like it's happening. So like it's still the tease. It's still the very much like it was like when Wanda gave visions to all the cast in Age of Ultron of like what could come in this next phase. To me, that scene was like, okay, you've whet my appetite.
Yeah.
Like
There's
I know
dinosaurs. Let's go.
there's dinosaurs. There's a paint world.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's an animated world. This is it. And then I think too, just the second half of this film just is insane. And the part where when he just goes, you can tell like when it's like stuff that Sam Raimi had to do, and then stuff where Sam Raimi got to do.
Yeah.
And the dead body that was buried on top of the like building, I was like, interesting.
That's
Are
100%.
we gonna revisit this?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, he's dreamwalking. Kate's like, how's he gonna do this? Like, there's a dead body in 616, I believe. And then she's like, oh shit. And then he like rises from the dead. I was like,
Yeah.
this is it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what we want from Doctor. We don't want We don't want anything else that makes sense in any other character movie.
Sure. Yep.
This is a Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah.
And so I agree that there are some things that it probably got hindered from its 6-year hiatus, and there's been so much stuff that he's done that it probably doesn't feel like a direct sequel. It was almost like he was on ice for 70 years and then he got woken up for a sequel. I mean, like, that's kind of what it feels like, is like he is kind of a different person, but the more this went on, the more he got broken down and did something not because he was the only one who could do it. He did it because he had to do it in order to save this new threat that's going to probably play a big part in the future, which is incursions of what if a universe collides with another one of them has to win. And so I think it just did a really good job of teeing things up.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be some great things that come because of this movie.
Yeah, I think this is like a real Kickstarter film for future multiverse movies. I just hope that they pace the movie a little bit better.
Sure.
Because I do enjoy fast-paced films, but there were certain aspects of this movie that was just like, okay, you can slow it down a little bit. Like, let's flesh this out a little bit more.
Because, I mean, he doesn't even get to the Illuminati until, like, an hour and 10 in, and that means there's only an hour left. And I looked at my watch and was like, oh, no. Like, this isn't going to be a thing. Like, we're not going to do a lot. This is like a 2.5 multiverse of madness. It's like kind of a thing.
And that was really frustrating for me, was the build-up to the Illuminati, and they're in it for, like, 5 minutes and all died. And so it's like, I get it that it's, like, it's not important for the story, but it's like...
Yeah, this is...
Let them be there for a little bit longer.
This is like the Rogue One of the Marvel Universe, where it's like, this is going to make sense, but everyone has to die. But, like, it's good because you don't care enough about... Like, I didn't care about Reed Richards. Because I was like, we're not going to get a future with him. They're not showing the Fantastic Four. I don't care about Professor X because... I know they're not going to just
all
kill
expendable,
it's fine. And we know there's infinite universes. So in this one, there might not be a Reed Richards. Maybe that Fantastic Four is going to go find a Reed Richards, or I don't know. Like, it could be a branch that has now been created everywhere.
Yeah.
And if my boy Black Bolt has to be, this is how he has to be used, then like thank God, because
my boy Black Bolt.
That was insane. The thing I was telling these guys when we were driving earlier was they've gone so far out of their way to ignore that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. exists, but they made sure that the guy who plays Black Bolt was definitely in this movie as Mr. the Black Bolt.
The credit that is due.
It's insane. It's just like, make up your minds.
Yeah.
At this point, just put Charlie Cox on the Illuminati. He's like, I am Daredevil. It's like, great.
Sure.
Like, who gives a shit? Like,
should be Iron Fist on the Daredevil team. On the Illuminati. Yeah.
The one thing I didn't like about the Illuminati was typically my understanding was that they were made up of like incredibly smart individuals.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Tony, Professor X, Black Bolt, Namor, Doctor Strange, and there's one more.
Black Panther's usually on there.
Yeah, Black Panther.
I think it might be Black
Panther.
Even be.
You said Doctor Strange is on it too.
Strange.
The one thing I will say though is like, typically a lot of these old timey teams are like all dudes. So if you're gonna pick two ladies, these were the two to do it. Give us like it's not Monica Rambeau, but her mom playing Captain Marvel, and then Captain Carter was insane. I mean, dope.
That was dope.
I mean, she literally spits blood and says, "I can do this all day." And I'm like, "Give me it! Like, let's do this." I'm in.
Yeah.
She has a jetpack. This is awesome.
Yeah, the jetpack was super cool. I like that a lot.
So like, I think they did a great job. This was just very much like a fun thing, and I think the cast that they chose is why it was supposed to be a fun thing. Like, if they really did like Namor and all brand new characters, I think we would have been like, oh wait, maybe keep some of them alive instead of just murk them all and make them kind of like what if, like whatever. That's just kind of what it felt like. This was like What If the movie kind of.
Yeah, essentially. Well.
So anyway, that was a long way to say that why it did it for me, because I think at first I was like, well, this is going to be super easy to crap on because I don't get it.
Yeah.
But then by the end, when I take all those little nuggets of like, even just that stupid conversation that he has with the dude in the pew about, did you have to save the world this way? And just the talk, it's just way more deep in a different way than the Tony Stark arc was that I'm interested again. I want to dig deep with Stephen Strange now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I hope that in Secret Wars they do a lot more of like, will we see Tom Cruise as Tony Stark? Will we see this and that? Because like obviously it's like two different universes. I think that would be like super dope to have Tom Cruise as Tony Stark lead, that universe's
Levi.
Avengers or whatever. But at the same time, it's like, I go back to that thing. It's like Tony Stark or Robert Downey Jr. played Tony Stark in 616's universe. Is it going to be another Tony Stark or Robert Downey Jr. in this universe? Because they kind of seem to do the same continuity.
They can do different actors. They can do whatever they want.
Well, of course they can. I just don't.
If he comes back, people will riot. They'll be like, "Yay! Oh wait, this ruins everything."
Yeah.
Because I think there's already this like feeling that I'm getting that people are like, the multiverse sucks because now Thanos doesn't matter, and just like it's like everyone needs to just chill out for a second. We don't know what they're doing. But I do think like if RDJ came back like 6 years later and was like, all right, I'm back, I don't know. I think it would feel weird and be like, oh no, you're like, this kind of undoes the sacrifice. But if you do like a Tom Cruise different Tony Stark from a different universe, totally fine.
See, but that's what I don't like about, that's some parts of me that I don't like about this community, is that we've been so privileged to have all these movies and everything that we've gotten. It's like now we're really getting nitpicky.
Amen.
And it's like, come on, like getting a movie with Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man.
It exists.
And it exists, and it's a great freaking movie. Like why would you nitpick something when in the middle of the first phase of the MCU, you would have never dreamed of this happening?
Yeah.
It's like now we've been so just like conditioned to get these amazing films. Now we want more. We expect more. But when we don't get exactly what each person wants, like you want Tony Stark as Iron Man, I didn't really care for it. You might have wanted, I don't know, Namor, for example. But it's like, it's like we can't get everything we want, and you can't please everybody. So I feel like this movie did a good job of like, just like, this is our plan for it. This is what we wanted. We had good cameos, and it was a good film. So yeah, it's just that aspect of it's like oh, Thanos didn't matter. It's like, well, at the time it did, and you guys really freaking loved it. But because this has happened, now you're crapping on the old stuff that has happened. It's like, don't go back.
Imagine having to jump through that many hoops to make a good movie.
Exactly.
It's impossible. So like we either need to, and I think the argument against it is like, well, everyone shits on the DC movies. It's like, yeah, because DC made 3 movies and they suck. Like they haven't launched the universe correctly, and so that's why we can judge them that way. And they're like, well, we're judging the 28th film of a very successful franchise, and we're saying, it just doesn't quite matter as much. It's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
I think it's different, you know. So like, I don't think it can be one for one and be like, well, just let DC. It's like, it's fine. I just am saying that's why those are bad comparatively, and I think it's okay to give Marvel a pass every now and then when they make a thing that's like that one character that probably wouldn't have ever made it into the movie now gets to be in movies because they've reached that level of the roster.
Right.
So it's all cherries on top at this point.
All cherries on top.
Boom.
Hot take.
Is Wanda dead?
I was just about to say that, yo.
Didn't see a body.
Yeah,
Wong fell off the ledge and didn't see a body because he's still alive.
There's no way she's dead.
Nobody's ever... See, like, this is something I said to Michael at the end of the film. I said, yeah, she's not dead. One, because she's such a beloved character, they would have made her death way more emotional than just a distant camera shot of a building falling on her. Like, I think it would have been like Strange holding her in her in his arms and like crying and just like heartfelt music. I don't know. That just like that death just seems so cold and heartless to do to that character who's gone through so much. So it's like, I don't know. I just think she escaped somehow. I just don't think she's dead.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree.
Totally agree.
At all.
Yeah. I do think too that they have to like be kind of careful because there was this one line. I was talking to Olivia about this earlier where I was like, this is where you can tell, like, maybe some dudes were in the writing room for this, but they're, like, at one point she's like, I'm not a monster, I'm a mother. And it's like, oh, don't maybe put those two things super close to each other, because now you're just kind of making her seem like, oh, I'm the crazy lady, but it's not crazy when guys do it, you know? And it's like, nope, we still love Loki. Loki killed a shit ton of people. Like,
it's true.
We still love Wanda, because she killed a shit ton of people. Like, it's okay. like, because there's going to be character development and like, because we've spent time with them, it's going to be fine. I just don't think that, like, the reason should be like, well, I'm just a mother, so I can do these things. It's like, stop, like, careful. I don't know if somebody, like, was consulted about that, but, like, just be really careful. Yeah. Because I don't know if that's going to, like, land correctly for a lot of people. So I just think, like, that going forward needs to be remembered. Like, she legitimately gave them the terms. Just let me have this girl. We're going to figure something out. And then they're like, nope, we're putting her behind this fortress. She's like, okay, this is the one thing I wanted. So she popped off.
Yeah.
Not saying it's justified. Just saying. Anyway.
And then...
What a movie.
And then American Chavez training to be a sorcerer or part of, you know, the thing. I thought that was pretty neat. Cool. It's like, because she has no other powers other than being able to open different portals to different universes. Yeah. She's got, like, no super strength. She can't fly. She can't use her mind or whatever. It's just like...
It's a good idea.
That's it. So it's like, okay, like...
So her having more than that power set's going to be pretty cool.
Get a little bit more discipline, you know, instead of just being like just a teenager or however old she is supposed to be in this movie, but...
Yeah, and maybe she can, like... Because obviously in that scene where she punches could have been, like, a special scene where, like, she got it to work, where it was like, here's the living room of Wanda. Like, it's probably not going to happen this often. And maybe with the sorcerer power, she'll, like, have a smoother transition, because it seems like when she opens it, like 8 ways, and then you might not land on, like, the next one. You might kind of just, like, go for a while, because she said she's, like, traveled to, like, 72 of them, so she's opened enough portals to, like, do stuff, but it's not clear, like, can she just jump into the next one? And so, like, I still think there's enough up in the air that she's not going to be, like, perfect the next time she shows up. Yeah. But she's probably teed up nicely for, like, it also appears that they're building some form of Young Avengers. Yeah. So, like, we got our Kate Bishop, and I think we're going to get...
Black Widow.
Yeah, Yelena, and then Scott Lang's daughter. And... Ant-Man, Cassie is probably going to be involved as well. So I think we've got a nice little team. And then, like, Kamala Khan's going to be in Disney Plus. And who knows, maybe Moon Knight's got, like, a third personality where he's a kid and he'll get to be a young adventure.
Fourth personality.
Fourth personality.
But yeah, I mean, they're teasing towards that, because we haven't gotten Ironheart yet.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's a TV show as well. So
that'll...
Future's bright. And it's not always going to be the multiverse, I don't think, either. Yeah. Like, I think there are just going to be some grounded films. Yeah. And they might touch on some stuff. But what are your guys' thoughts on the stinger at the end? Because they're now just starting to do some interesting things where it's like, and now I'm casted as a superhero. Yeah.
Oh, with Clea? I mean, Charlize Theron has never been my favorite actress, but it's like, okay, and they're like, how many more actresses or actors can you really get to fill these roles? I mean, there's hundreds of actors. Yeah, Tom Cruise can play Clea, you know, no big deal. Probably.
He can run faster.
Pumpy arm run.
Yeah. And in Multiverse, she's probably what's her face from Mad Max.
Oh, Furiosa.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh. I like Charlize Theron.
Yeah.
I didn't care for what they did. I was like, hey, you want to go in here? Okay, time to go.
It didn't feel good after the last scene. Like, that should have just either been the last scene or the scene before. But it was like, he's, like, passed out, like, with his third eye on the ground. And then it was, like, some credits. And then he's just walking with his, like, scarf again. And it's just like,
everything's fine.
Are you good? And then he opens his third eye. It's like, wait, what's going on? So, it's weird.
That was where it was like, I don't know, it left a bad taste in my mouth where it was, oh, here's the third eye of a bad thing that I know is bad, and I did something bad, so now I'm willingly jumping into this thing to do bad. I don't know, I just didn't like, I just didn't, he's like, weird. Okay, third eye, I know this is a bad thing, okay, time to go, and I don't know, I just didn't like,
it could still be whatever.
It was just, I didn't care. It was like, got it, next movie.
I do think, like, my one gripe with Marvel would be like, let's get our end credit scenes, like, good again, or let's maybe not do them anymore. Like, I know you have to do them, but, like, don't make me wait for 10 minutes to see Bruce Campbell go, it's over. Yeah. That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like,
well, I mean, like, that's kind of similar to what they did in Homecoming. like
right, yeah,
with Cap, where he's like, how, you waited so long for something so disappointing.
Yeah, it's like okay, yeah, like that type of stuff needs to stop.
Yeah,
and just do the stinger and tease something. Do a teaser trailer. Like, I love what they did with No Way Home, where it was literally just a trailer to Doctor Strange. That was sick.
Yeah, that was dope.
And it was like all that apple orchard scene. I was like, oh, they're going to team up. And then like, no, they're not. Get out of there. So anyway.
Yeah, despite like my gripes with Eternals, there are two post-credit scenes were pretty great. Like, they introduced Thanos' brother, Eris, and then at the very end, they introduced Black Knight and then Blade.
Yeah,
so it's like that was dope.
Yeah.
So like I would, if they're gonna do two, at least make the second one still tease something. Whether it's like 4 years down the line or whatever, it's like, okay, we have something to think about and talk about and look forward to, instead of just like, oh, punch myself. It's over.
It's over. Yeah. I will say though, I am excited though that like it seems like Doctor Strange is probably going to start being involved a little bit more. And Benedict Cumberbatch seems to be very, like,
on board.
Hey, I want to act and do other things, but, like, I like being Doctor Strange, so I'll just do it. And it's like, good on you. This guy is a good dude.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm, like, I'm good with what's going forward, because I think he actually cares.
Yeah, I agree.
And I like the introduction of Clea. After I didn't know this character before the film, so I don't want to seem like I'm like lying or anything. So I did some research on her, and I read about who she is, and I'm pretty sure she's the niece of Dormammu.
Yes, that's what I've heard.
So she's a part of the Dark Dimension.
Not good.
Yeah, not great.
But doesn't he like marry her?
Yeah, in the comics, she's a love interest for Strange, and at some point they do get married. So it's like, okay, we're moving past this Christine Palmer thing.
A little quickly,
maybe a little quickly, yes. But like.
Maybe he's officially over.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, he's officially over her, and so now we're going to introduce this other potential love interest if they decide to go that route. And again, not every Marvel movie has gone the same route as the comics. So, yeah, we'll see what they do with her and him. And her character, obviously, it's an introduction to a new character, which they seem to be doing a lot of, which is obviously they've done in the past.
New blood, but no like hints at when they're showing up again.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That is interesting, though, because, like, that line of I love you in every universe, just to kind of... Now, granted, it is just a woman opening a portal. It doesn't mean, like, this has to now be his future wife. It just happens to be the one character who is his future wife. Like, so it's just, like... That was a little weird for me to be like, oh, that line hit for me finally, because I actually kind of care about you and Christine.
Yeah.
And then to be like, but it's never gonna work out. Check out this hot lady. Let's go. And just like, okay, hold on. But whatever.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe he still does have feelings for Christine, and it's like but he's also like maybe conflicted with his feelings for this new chick.
Yeah.
Maybe like if as time develops, so it's like it might be like a inner battle.
My crazy prediction too was that I thought Christine Palmer was gonna be Wanda in another universe because she's red haired, and so I was like, what if he like falls for her and like was a different kind of Wanda, or in another universe she is X or whatever, like, because I do feel a little bad for Rachel McAdams. Like, I know she's probably just making a shit ton of money, so it's fine, but like. Both of her movies have been like
not doing much.
Yeah, she at least gets to kind of like run with him and do some stuff to like get to the Book of Ashanti and stuff like. But like, I just feel bad. Like, she's been in both to be like, you're the anchor, and it's like, I know, but in the first one she definitely wasn't, and in this one she barely was. So it's just like,
well, who knows? They might be they might be trying to go the same route they did with Jane Foster. I mean, like, she was kind of pointless in the first two. I mean, like, the second one, she had a little bit more of a role holding the Reality Stone. Yeah. The first one, she had a role, but it was like, you know. But then, obviously, this fourth Thor, she's the mighty Thor. Yeah, and she's ripped. She's I've seen a bunch of Chadmay. Some people are calling her.
Oh, let's go. I haven't heard that. That's so good.
It's like, Chadmay isn't real. She can't hurt you. And it's just a picture of her just swollen. Her arms just
That's hilarious.
Jacked. So yeah, they might be going that same route where it's like they have bigger plans for her later, but just as of right now, they're just kind of keeping her as a side character for Strange.
Yeah.
But who knows? I mean,
but I've definitely enjoyed this phase 4 of like inner reflection, which is kind of feels like much needed after like, all right, next thing, Infinity Stone build up, battle. Now what do we do? let's think about ourselves for a second. Like, let's just slow down. And I feel like they're doing, and it seems like Thor is going to continue that with like he's literally like in the trailer. It seems like maybe giving up war a little bit. Like maybe I need to stop fighting and
go a different route.
He's already gone through enough stuff, and we've already done some inner reflection with him, but he still has some more to give. And it's going to be our first character who's ever had like a fourth film, so I'm excited to like see how that progresses. So I like where this is going. I like the character study phase that we're in. So.
I do think Thor is going to die in this fourth one.
Well,
I do.
Hot takes.
Hot take. I really because they're introducing the new Thor and they're going to introduce this new team of Avengers. I think either Thor is going to die or he's going to become the Allfather, and
what's the
and just
Allfather?
kind of retire, or
Odin.
like Odin, like how Odin
got
was,
it.
and like just be ruler of like that kind of a position over Asgard, even though Valkyrie is already in that position. So I don't know. I personally think he's just not going to make it. I think they're just going to retire his character.
I suppose his time is limited.
Jane Foster's like kind of taking over that role.
Dang, man, one by one. Because it seems like they're slowly retiring the Avengers. I mean, obviously a few of them were done from Endgame.
We always got Hawkeye.
Well, but that's the thing. Is Hawkeye done after Hawkeye? I don't know. Like, it wasn't a clear send-off, but it was kind of also like a passing of the torch. So is he going to be like a... I wonder if all these guys are just going to eventually become like little cameos like later on.
I think so.
You know?
Probably.
Like Chris Hemsworth's like, yeah, whatever. I still work out. I can show up if you want. Yeah.
Because I mean, like at the end of Endgame, Cap, he didn't die. He just turned old, so he could still be alive.
Well, I presume that he is Joe Biden, the president of the MCU. In 616, his alias is Joe Biden.
Well, wasn't he the president in one comic or something too? Right?
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, he does.
I just think
president.
I don't think that was Chris Evans. That was Joe Biden playing him in the end of Endgame, hands down.
Oh, that's good.
That's hysterical.
I like that.
But yeah, they're. I mean, it's a means to an end for every character.
Yeah.
So it's like at some point these characters will be phased out, these current ones, and then we'll get new characters. And the comics will continue to create new characters. I mean, at some point we're gonna get Squirrel Girl or whatever her name is.
Yes, we're getting I
don't know when, but I mean, She-Hulk's coming out. Yeah, Miss Marvel's in a month. So yeah, we're in for the long haul.
Yeah. But it does. I kind of feel like what Michael was saying, where it just feels like we're kind of staying in this like standby mode a little bit, and it's like I feel what you're saying. Because there have been 11 Phase 4 projects, and like there's no clear story that's come from any of them that makes us know what's happening next.
Yeah. But the 11th film in OG MCU was like, what was that, like Age of Ultron probably?
Yeah,
something like that. So there was at least a direction.
Yeah.
I also think. Seeing this movie coming off of Everything Everywhere
kind of casts a little shadow.
Yeah, I think it handled the multiverse way better, and so I think it handled the themes of like loss better, and I think it handled themes of like if we can go anywhere, everywhere, all the time. Well, what does this moment mean?
Sure.
And so I felt like it kind of kicked the legs out of a lot of Doctor Strange for me.
It is weird that it came out around the same time. One, however, gets to be its own movie. The other has to set up a bunch of other shit.
And that's totally fair.
At the core of one movie is a mother and a daughter, and the core of this one is a Sorcerer Supreme and a really messed up Scarlet Witch and a girl named America Chavez. Yeah. So I agree. I think it was cleaner because it could be too. But yes, probably a better multiverse movie. Because we actually got to experience it from the majority of the film. Yeah.
And well, I think that this Phase 4 has set up some things. I mean, obviously the clear theme is multiverse for this phase. But the Thanos of this is Kang. Or at least he could be the Ultron of this.
Sure.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, like the mid tier boss.
Yeah, the mid tier, cuz I know that they're going to introduce Galactus at some point. So I don't know, Galactus could be like Phase 5 Thanos villain.
Sure.
This could be Kang could be Phase 4 Thanos, kind of big baddie. But I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of MCU villains that they have not touched. And a lot of So I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for an official. Obviously, we got the official confirmation of Daredevil in No Way Home, but like,
is he getting a show? What's he doing?
Is he going to continue? I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be in She-Hulk. I don't know, as
That makes
Daredevil
sense.
or Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
But he's definitely up for more project. But I still, as much as people don't like Iron Fist and Luke Cage, and Jessica Jones, like, I still want them in these universes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like I mean, like, obviously they're all canon, but like, just like, I would still like to see like a big team up with the Defenders and then the Avengers coming together and the Fantastic Four, and like, Endgame was obviously a huge film, taking every hero we've gotten so far, but like, let's push it. Let's do a little bit more. We can do it.
I feel like phases 1 through 3, there kind of were 2 arcs, which were the grounded Earth people, and then there was the space people. Yeah. So maybe there is going to be kind of this, like, you're grounded. I mean, as crazy as Moon Knight was, still pretty, like, street level.
Sure.
Yeah.
And, like, Hawkeye, street level. So maybe there is going to be 2 functions of, there's going to be some multiversal stuff. People are going to start showing up in these things, and they might be able to show up in these TV shows. And then the TV show might be this guy beating up drug dealers for a little bit. Like, and they might both exist, and that might be the 2 lanes until Secret Wars or whatever they get to, and it's like, we need everybody, even you, lawyer guy. And he's like, I'm here. Let's fight. So maybe that's where they're kind of going.
Yeah, that would be dope. That would be. Wow. I mean, like, that sounds like just a fan wishing and hoping.
Yeah,
like,
I'm trying my best to be like, here's my predictions, not my expectations.
Exactly.
So you got to be really careful.
Yeah. Yeah. I predict that that's going to happen.
Okay.
Well, this might be our best episode to date.
Yeah.
Levi, you killed it.
Thank you.
Just showed up here.
It was a
It's
pleasure.
like, hey, boom, 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 boom.
Showed up ready to go.
Michael, I think I changed your mind. I can't tell.
No.
Oh, I didn't? Okay. Damn.
Mission failed. We'll get him next time.
I tried. I tried with the feels. I tried with the plot. I tried. Can't do it. It's all right.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Maybe on a rewatch. I think I would enjoy this movie better. I just don't think it's going to get super high on my list in general.
Yeah.
So
I think a second viewing would really help.
Yeah, so you can actually slow down and be like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that part. Or that
Yeah.
part, so.
Especially after this conversation.
Yeah, be good to check it out.
Yeah, we've all talked about some pretty crazy things and important things. So
I know, and the fact that we were able to hold off for like an hour before talking about the Illuminati, I'm really proud of us.
Insane.
All right, well,
crazy.
you may have heard some stuff about Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, but now you've heard it from us. Yes. Not us United of Madness.
Oh,
let's
United
go.
in Madness. Third eye, baby. Oh, there's 3 eyes. Everyone has a third eye. Oh, I have 4 heads.
Our review of The Darkhold will be next week. All right, everyone. See you later.
Bye. You've just listened to Not Us United. You can find us under Not Us United on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. Please leave us a review and consider subscribing to our podcast. You can reach out for future podcast topic suggestions at notusunitedpod@gmail.com.